Okay, let's get started as we are in final session. As this is the sixth session, we'll cover fifth domain today. As last week we have seen network security, today we'll cover security operations. So, as usual, the weightage part, security operations holds 18% of the weight in the exam. So 18 questions you may expect from this topic. Today the topics will cover that will consume around 18% in the overall exam. Let's get into the concept. Primarily, security operations talks about baseline configuration, policy management, version control, encryption, primarily cryptography. So these concepts are covered in this domain. We'll go with simple local examples so that you will understand the concept clearly. So as you come from computer networking background or a computer software background, you must have studied about cryptography, plain text, ciphertext, encryption, decryption and all. But in IT security or security standpoint, we don't need to go in depth how encryption works, the mathematical function you don't need to know in detail. But we should know about high level protocol level, which protocol being used, which protocol is more strength, which one is weaker, why it was weaker, so that you can figure out in a multiple choice question. If I give you 5 protocol, ask you to choose among 5 which one is more secure, more strength, then you must know each protocol, then only you can pick the right one, right? So that level information you need to learn. So cryptography is one of the most important security control that can use to protect the confidentiality of your data. How to enforce confidentiality using encryption? So when you encrypt, man in the middle, when someone sneak into a computer network and took the packet capture or the traffic data, that cannot be decrypted, so the data is useless. Primarily because we are protecting the confidentiality. Imagine if there is no encryption, everyone is sending plain text, hi, hello, or whatever email you are sending to recipient. Just imagine there is no encryption. Anyone in the middle, it could be in the ISP or in your home router, anyone take the capture and read the message, what is inside outside. So that creates primary problem, break the confidentiality. So primarily cryptography protects confidentiality. In interview standpoint, if you ever attended any IT security interview, there must be a question, how to achieve confidentiality? What are the tools you would use? So the first tool you must remember is cryptography. Cryptography uses encryption to achieve confidentiality or protect the confidentiality when data in transit or data at rest. So when we say plain text, it could be anything. It could be audio, video file, image file, or a plain text. You are inputting the plain unencrypted format that is being converted into ciphertext. Then it will be transmitted over transmission medium like Wi-Fi network, wired network, or 4G, 5G network to reach the destination. So man in the middle, if anyone take the data, they cannot assemble the full picture because of the encryption. So it uses encryption protocol, and primarily the key is an important component. So as I said, when we encrypt the data becomes ciphertext. If ciphertext, if someone try to open, this is how it looks like. If you ever open PCAP or Wireshark DC-bit dump capture, which is encrypted, you will not see any data. It's not readable form, right? No one can understand what is in it, but this is an encrypted ciphertext. So that's the reason encryption is being used widely. If you are watching this video, you are a student or you are building any IT software or project, you must use encryption everywhere whenever you are transmitting some data from one component to another component. When you're connecting systems, when you are doing some project with IoT, OT or any other component, Whenever there is a signal is transmitted from one place to another place, make sure you have put encryption module in the place so that the data will not be taken out by the bad actors to read or infect that process. So that way encryption helps maintaining the confidentiality. As we know, encryption classified into two major types, symmetric and asymmetric, right? Symmetric, as the name states, source and receiver both uses same key to decrypt or encrypt. That is called the symmetric encryption. So definition standpoint, there is a secret key, use that key to encrypt, send the ciphertext, receiver use the same key to decrypt. Simple, symmetric encryption. In a real-time scenario, Siva and Priya take two participants here. Two participants trying to send a message. Siva and Priya agree on a protocol first. What encryption algorithm they are going to use. It could be SHA, RSA, whatever algorithm. First they need to agree, this is the algorithm I am going to use. Next, Siva and Priya agree on a same key. Let's say I use 123, you also use 123. Siva encrypt the message, hi, hello, when we can meet tomorrow. That is being encrypted with the key 123. Now the encrypted message sent to the Priya. Now Priya receive the encrypted message, use that same 123 key and the same agreed algorithm to decrypt. Simple. Nothing complex. Symmetric is very simple to understand. Same key, same algorithm. Recipient and receiver both uses same key to encrypt as well as decrypt. One major problem with this approach. Okay, it's a very simple algorithm, much faster because we are using same key to encrypt and decrypt. Because of that, it's much faster and quick, right? So now it brings one problem. Now there is a third guy introduced here. Siva, Priya, okay. Now my company is very large. Maybe my team has 15 people. Now 15 people communicate among each other in my team. Now when 15 people in the team, we cannot maintain a single key, right? If you maintain single key, what will happen? In between each person, if they agree on one single private key, the key length is, the key count is going to increase. How that will impact? Now let's say among Siva and Priya, I'm including myself, Ismail. Now Siva and Priya agree on a key 1, Siva and Ismail agree on another key, Ismail and Priya agreed on another key. So to communicate using symmetric encryption, we need at least 3 keys in this scenario, right? Now if company grows, let's say 10,000 employees or 15,000 employees or 100k employees in my organization, if I want to implement symmetric encryption, that is not scalable because of this shared secret key requirement for this approach, right? How this will impact in the large environment? The formula to calculate the key is n into n minus 1 by 2. For example, take this example, Siva, Priya, Ismail, total 3 persons. N is 3 here. So 3 into 2 by 2 is 3 keys required. If you take 10,000 employees, if you apply same formula, you will need 50 million encryption keys. Because one talk to another, the same person talk to another person. So like that, the key will grow exponentially. That will hit 50 million. This is not scalable. So primary reason why companies may not use or limited way to use symmetric key is because of number of keys requirement. So far is that understandable or am I going fast? Because symmetric is something straightforward concept. Just to take the chat and confirm, we have very limited audience today. If you understand so far the symmetric encryption, just type yes. All right. So next we'll move on to the asymmetric encryption. Okay, symmetric encryption, I understood, same key used between source and receiver. Now, the problem with that symmetric encryption was number of keys is keep growing. When my company resources, system or employees increasing, key exponentially increasing because of that n into n minus 1 to n minus 1 by 2 logic. Because each person maintain multiple keys to communicate with their peers. Now, how asymmetric encryption going to solve this problem? So, in asymmetric encryption, each person must hold two keys. One is called the public key, another one is private key. So, the public key shared with anyone. Everyone know what is public key of Siva, what is public key for Priya. Everyone knows, right? So Priya creates her pair of first and shares her public key with Siva. So Priya has public key, Shiva has public key. They share each other or anyone with anyone. They keep private keys secret with themselves. That is not put in the public. So only Siva knows his private key. Only Priya knows her private key. Now Siva wanted to send a message to Priya. What will happen? Siva encrypts his message. Let's meet tomorrow using Priya's public key. So Siva uses Priya's public key to encrypt and send the encrypted text to Priya. Only Priya can decrypt using her private key. So that way we are meeting the same requirement, confidentiality, encrypted. Only Priya can decrypt. But Siva uses her public key to encrypt, Priya uses her private key to decrypt. So now in this approach, Siva needs two keys, Priya needs two keys. So each person should need two keys. So now add third person. Siva, Priya, two keys. Ismail also has two keys, one public key, one private key. The public key shared with Siva as well as Priya, the same public key. Ismail keep the private key secret for himself. If Siva wanted to send a message to Ismail, Siva uses Ismail's public key to encrypt. Ismail uses his private key to decrypt. Same goes to Priya, right? So in this example, person is n. Each person must need two keys. So n into 2, 6 keys required. If you have 10,000 employees, you have 20,000 encryption keys needed to achieve large scale encryption. So from this example, for exam standpoint, symmetric asymmetric encryption is clear. Symmetric is faster, asymmetric is slower because two different keys used in this asymmetric encryption and decryption. The another primary difference is number of keys required. Symmetric is not suitable for large environments, large system, large number of users. Asymmetric is suitable for large number of environments where they just need two keys per system, per user or per process, right? So minimum amount is just two keys per user. That way the key requirement controlled. So if there is a question about asymmetric, symmetric, which one is faster, you know the answer. If there is a question about number of keys required, you have the answer and formula ready. If there is a comparison between asymmetric and symmetric, you know how encryption decryption works for each type. The reason I'm stressing, I put this as an example. In this example, I make sure I cover the 4 or 5 topics. Which one is faster, which one is required less number of keys and more number of keys. How the key calculation works. I included this simple formula to calculate number of keys required. If there is a question about symmetric encryption and the number of keys asked, then you need to apply this formula. If there is an asymmetric encryption and asked for a key count, then you need to use n into 2 as the formula. N is number of the person or number of system needed to participate in the communication. All right. So now let's move further on the algorithm side. Which algorithm is suitable for symmetric and asymmetric? So I said the foundation. Now you know symmetric, you know what is asymmetric. So asymmetric cryptography is slower, as we know, because two keys being used. But it solves the problem of creating keys for large organization because of the key formula n into n minus 1 by 2. Large organizations need more number of keys when you use symmetric algorithm. Only two keys are needed when you use asymmetric algorithm, right? So you can see here symmetric, asymmetric, number of keys 1, asymmetric, number of keys 2. NIST recommended 128 bits, asymmetric 2048 bits. Commonly used algorithm, symmetric AES. AES means Advanced Encryption Standard. In asymmetric RSA, Reversed Shamir-Edelman algorithm. This RSA algorithm is suitable for asymmetric. If there is a question about you need to implement asymmetric algorithm, which protocol or which algorithm you would use, you must choose RSA. If there is a question about symmetric algorithm, you must choose AES. So again, this may be a question scenario here. You must know RSA is suitable for asymmetric. AES is supported by symmetric, right? So which one is quick and relatively slow? Symmetric is always quick and faster. Asymmetric is slow because two different keys involved. Encryption done by different, decryption done by another key. So that's why asymmetric is relatively slow. Other algorithms you must know: symmetric, AES, Blowfish, Serpent, Twofish, 3DES, and RC4. In asymmetric, RSA, DSA, ECC, Diffie-Hellman. These all asymmetric algorithms. Next, okay, we just talked about algorithm encryption, how it works, how many keys needed. Now, where we can apply that logic? Data at risk, when we need to protect the data at transit or data at rest, right? So data at rest is something start from your storage. It could be memory card, it could be USB drive, it could be hard disk, right? So when data at rest, you are storing the data for future reference. You take the picture, that picture being stored in your memory card. You dumped something on your USB drive, that is stored in your USB drive. You have hard disk. Let's say you are running a company, your employees are storing all customer client data on laptop. That laptop has a physical hard disk. Now, the sensitive data written into USB drive, hard disk, or memory card, right? When this data, when it is available for bad actor or attacker hand, what will happen? If there is a laptop theft, how would you handle? Anyone can dismantle the laptop and take the hard drive and plug it to another device and access the data, right? So you need a protection for data at rest. You need protection, for your thumb drive or a pen drive or memory card. When someone take that storage equipment outside the company, when they try to steal the data, it shouldn't be accessible. It must be in encrypted state. So data written in the REST format must be encrypted as a compliance requirement. If you have studied about payment card industry or HIPAA compliance requirement, data at rest must be encrypted. So to enforce those compliance requirement while running a business, you must know what are the encryption standard available for data at rest. So that your data at rest, the hard disks are protected. When there is a data movement or a hard disk theft or laptop theft, when they try to connect to another OS, it will not be able to decrypt, or you can remotely control the disk encryption keys. So there are multiple softwares, and Windows itself, it provides encryption option. So data at rest must be encrypted, not in plain text. Very important concept is data transit. Now, every data, day-to-day life, you are handling with data in transit. For example, take the live call happening now. I'm talking to you over MS Teams. My voice, my video come to you in an encrypted form. When you go on to place an ad on any e-commerce platform, your communication is encrypted. So whenever you use website, your communication is encrypted. So you are moving the data between server and you are transferring some traffic from your device to another device. In the middle, it uses encryption to protect, maintain the confidentiality. So data transit is primarily HTTPS protocol, hypertext transfer protocol, which is secure hypertext transfer protocol. When you do plain HTTP protocol, which is on plain text / HTML, which is not secure. If you serve a website over port 80 with HTTP, anyone can read the data, anyone can read your login ID or user ID password. That's the reason all the websites uses HTTPS. Your browser and server uses client server communication through HTTPS protocol. So man in the middle, the traffic cannot be decrypted. Hash function. This is called one-way encryption. This is not suitable for communication, but you can see this hash function in sharing a file or primarily tamper protection. In supply chain attacks, hash function primarily used to validate is there any data change happened in the transit. Primarily it helps to maintain the integrity. I put a simple example. I am a developer. I have invented a new software. Okay, let's say I used some AI function to develop a new software that will provide you your computer health status. When you install, it will scan your computer and provide your computer battery health or some, for example, okay. I just created a software which has some benefit to all the users. Now, that software hosted in my website. You go and download the software. That's the mode of transmission I'm using to send that software into everyone. Now you try to download the software. You are getting the software, you are trusting my website and you are installing the software, and that gives the proper outcome, what intention I have built for. So far good. Now when this will have a problem, let's say someone hacked my website, on that software someone included a malware. Still that is a software, but there is a malware also embedded in the software. Now you don't know whether that software is clean or malware infected. How to avoid this problem, like how Mozilla or how any proper downloadable executable files, whenever you download a Chrome browser, whenever you download Microsoft Office, how companies are solving this problem? Like when it comes to very popular softwares like WhatsApp Web or WhatsApp the client, when you download, if let's say worst case, if WhatsApp server got infected and there is a malware hidden in the WhatsApp website, now everyone go and download, everyone get infected, right? That's what happened in the past supply chain attacks, like the source software get infected and virus get into all the devices through that software. To solve that problem, I develop a code, I develop the software, I create hash for that software. Okay, I put my executable file, let's say ismail.executable file.exe. I create a hash file using MD5 hash algorithm that will generate, let's say, 16-digit random number. My software, one unique input is my software, one unique output is 16-digit string. I put that string in my website. This is the software, this is the string. If that string is changed, let's say you downloaded the software and you are checking the MD5 value for that software. if you didn't get the same string as what I put on the website, you can confirm someone modified the software. So to validate the authenticity, to validate the integrity, no tampering, no one modified the code, for that hash function is used in real time. This is just one use case. There are other use cases in TLS inspection where hash function is used to validate the certificate authenticity, so that multiple other use cases. But you just imagine, you give one input, it could be video file, audio file, MP4 or image file. Hash function will give you a proper 16-digit string. Okay, the digit may vary, depends on the algorithm, but it gives you unique output. Whenever you upload a same file, wherever, from your system or your friend's system, that gives the same outcome. When that outcome changes, which means your input file got changed. Another simple example. I have made 1 minute video. I uploaded into hash function. I converted that 1 minute video into hash function, let's say 16-digit came. That 16-digit is alphanumeric value. Whenever that file is edited and again the MD5 generated, that 16-digit random number will differ. So with that I can understand that file is same or different. Primarily this is being used in many upload sites to understand user is uploading the same file or different file. Some places the hashing is used to mask the data. Let's say my user ID is ismail@company.com. In my database, I don't want to store that in a plain text ismail@company.com. Instead, I generate ismail@company.com into hash. The hash will be stored. The same hash function can be used for password protection. Let's say you have password admin.123. So it's a weak password, but that is your password. Now when you store the password in your application side, you convert that admin@123 into hash, so that if any of your employee who has access to database cannot read the password. Password is admin@123, but that is being converted into hashing. Only the hash value is being stored. So various use cases, that is where hashing is used in the real time. Now MD5, MD4 is no longer secure. SHA is considered as secure. Secure hash algorithm is the full form for SHA. That is recommended by our National Institute of Standards and Technology, which is NIST. So next we'll talk about overall three comparison. We have seen symmetric, asymmetric, now come to hash. Hash uses no key. You are giving input as a file, that is giving output as a string, right? So no key involved. It's a one-way encryption. No one going to decrypt it. Even we cannot decrypt. So once it is hashed, only that value used for integrity and validation, not reverse. If someone got your password hash, they cannot decode your password. So hash doesn't have any keys. NIST recommended length is 256 bits. The popular SHA algorithms are SHA-224, SHA-256, SHA-384, SHA-512. These all are the hash algorithm. So far we have seen symmetric algorithm, asymmetric algorithm, hashing algorithm. What is symmetric, what is asymmetric, what is hashing. So far we have covered. We just summarized in this table. Now, when hash function will fail, this may be exam standpoint. I will give the same example. My password is admin@123. Now that converted using hash, the hashed value could be, let's say ABCD123, some random unique number. If I do reverse, if I put that unique number into hash and if I decode admin@123, if it is reversible, then hash is no longer secure. That is the first thing. If it is reversible, hash is no secure. Then, if someone demonstrate the collision resistant, what does that mean? Admin@123 is my password. Let's say admin@456 also another password. If both two different passwords create single string outcome from hashing algorithm, then it is collision resistant. It doesn't have collision resistant because two different outcomes should create two unique value. Instead, what happened here? Two different input, but same outcome came. That is not meeting the collision resistant requirement. Hash must be not collision resistant. So if these two criteria met or any one met, then hash algorithm is weaker. That's why this MD5, MD4 are no longer secure. Someone demonstrated when you use MD5, MD4 can be reversed. Maybe two file can provide same hashed value. That's why MD5, MD4 is no longer secure. It was documented somewhere. Some scientists proved that MD5, MD4 can be reversed. Now time to take quiz. You are concerned that users traveling with laptops will have those devices stolen while in the transit. Which encryption technology would best protect the data stored in those laptops? Again, this is for data at rest. We have seen those terminology. Try to find from the options. Simple. Yeah, all right. So HTTPS is suitable for data at transit. HTTP is not an encryption protocol. VPN is a network end-to-end protection protocol. FD is the full disk encryption used in laptops when data being stored. So FD is the answer, option D. So next important topic is data lifecycle. You create a data, store the data, use the data, share it with someone when needed. Then when the data get older, you may archive. Then you will, one day you hit a storage problem, then you will delete and remove the file, right? That's the natural tendency. If you have taken real-time example, consider you are having 128 GB mobile phone. The storage size is 128 GB. You keep taking video, images. What you are doing is you are creating the content. That content being stored on your hard disk or memory card. You are using that data, sharing in WhatsApp or whatever media you are sending with friends, family. You are using that data. You are sharing the data with whenever needed, attaching an email or send it over WhatsApp, right? You are using the data, you are sharing the data. Now, after some time, the data become redundant or older, you just keep it for reference, memory, right? One day, when you hit a memory issue or the disk space is full, you start looking what data you can delete. Now, in enterprise, we cannot apply this approach. It's a personal device, you don't have any risk, any business risk. You can use as it is in the mobile device scenario. When it comes to enterprise, you may need to maintain the compliance requirement as per PCI DSS or HIPAA. You need to store the data more than 6 months in an encrypted form. So you need large storage, you need backup, you need to maintain the data in your enterprises for business. Now what will happen? Company created the data. Let's say consider there is a bank. Every customer doing transaction, this transacted data must be stored in for 3 years. To give the customer a bank statement or anything. That's the agreement between customers and the bank. Now 3 years they need to maintain the data. Every time customer make a transaction, data get created, stored in the backend database. Customer uses whenever they bring the statement. Customer share that transaction through PDF or email. Bank will archive after 3 years. Once the data hit the expiry date, bank will take the data and move it to archive. They keep it for some time. If no longer needed, let's say 2 more years gone, bank will destroy the entire hard disk or entire records using some various methods. If the data properly not destroyed, anyone can decode and understand who did the transaction, when the money sent, who the receiver, what was the account number. Confidential data can be revealed, right? So we can't just go and delete the transaction on the database. The entire database must be destroyed so that no one can recreate, right? So this understanding this data lifecycle in personal perspective as well as enterprise perspective is slightly different. As personal, we don't care about compliance, we don't care about data confidentiality or protection. When it comes to business, if any of the archive data, let's say 3000 or 300 km customers data being leaked to internet or dark web, that creates bad reputation, right? For example, last week, one of the major web page, which is Pornhub, got breached. Large number of data being stolen, that has their customer details and their search preferences, many details on the dark web now. That completely put that particular company on the risk. They no longer able to run the business. People may quit and they won't renew the premium. Many financial loss the company will going to face, because the damage on reputation, damage on the business can happen just because of if the data lifecycle not followed properly. So for our exam standpoint, data removal or archive is a primary area we need to focus. So destroying electronic records, what is clearing means the basic sanitization technique consists simply writing new data on the top of the existing data. For example, you have, let's say, 1 TB hard disk. You have the database on the hard disk. Now you are keep rewriting the new data, which means you are clearing and rewriting, overwriting. But still, the data records are there. If they use recovery software, anyone can recover the data, right? So this cannot be full destroying mechanism, but you can save the storage, you can reuse the hard disk, but this is not effective against most types of recovery tool or mechanism to recover the data. Next is purging. Is similar to clearing but uses more advanced technique and takes longer time. Purging might use cryptographic function to obscure media on disk. Purging also includes the degaussing technique, which applies strong magnetic field to securely overwrite the data. Clearing is just, you imagine you go to your memory card and deleting the photos. Purging means you use some technique like electromagnetic gaussing to encrypt and use that magnetic waves to decrypt so that the recovery tool cannot recover the data on the hard disk. Destroying is the ultimate type of data sanitization. You shred. Shred means you put that device into bits and pieces. You take the hard disk and shred it. So no way to mantle or assemble again. So no way to recover the data. So among three, destroying is the most powerful type of data sanitization. You are completely eliminating the record. If you are just deleting, anyone can use recovery software to recreate the data. If you do purging, yes, purging can help, but there are techniques, it would be slow, as well as you can reuse the equipment, but it uses magnetic things that may downgrade the life cycle of that equipment. Destroying is the best suitable for critical data sanitization. Mostly banks might use this technique, as well as critical infrastructure. If your business is more critical, you shouldn't recreate the deleted data. Then they send the hard disk to shredder and destroy all the evidence using various mechanisms. So shredding for paper is a shredder, but hard disk equipments, there are multiple effective ways. We'll see that. So shredding is a equipment that will eliminate all the papers into bits and pieces, right? It basically scramble or destroy the paper evidence. Pulping, when it comes to large amount of data, let's say you have tons of paper documents, people KYC documents, bank transaction statements are printed. You cannot use this shredder to cut it, bits and pieces every time, right? It's a large quantity. now use some chemicals to pulp so that the ink and paper pulp gets separated. No one can recreate the data on the paper record. Incineration is another technique, but it's not environmental friendly. They put fire and they make it record destroyed everywhere. So no way to recreate, but this is not environmental friendly because it creates carbon emission. Right? So now come to data classification. Why we need data classification? This is one of the techniques to control or implement data security in organization. If you take any company, they need to comply with any compliance requirement or they need to secure the data movement. Then data classification is one of the important technique. This data classification came from traditional armies, and the army uses secret codes between during war situation. They send some documents or messages. Those informations are protected, right? Maybe army uses secret, top secret, public kind of a classification. But in our organization, like business, they may use different level of keywords. For example, military, top secret, only respective countries' leaders should know. Maybe that level of top secret data, they classify it as top secret. Secret, maybe only the colonel or within the army people should know, which is secret. Confidential, only particular group can know. Unclassified is anyone can know that information. So that's how generally it came from traditional way, but in how it comes in business, they translate into highly sensitive, internal, public. Public, as you know, anyone can read the data which is public. For example, there was a breach, you need to create a report and made it public. Everyone can read it, which is transparent communication you are making about your announcement. Hey guys, there was a breach, we have done this is the chronological analogy and this is the outcome we have done. This is the mitigation control we enforced, you are impacted or not. Company is transparent to their customers. When it comes to internal, let's say that company has only 15 employees, that 15 employees Slack or Outlook communications are internal communication. They talk each other, they share some internal data, right? That is classified as internal. They cannot share it on their social media or put it public. That will lead to termination, right? So internal data must be secured within the group or the company organization. Next, sensitive data. If that data go away from one team to another team, that may create a trouble. For example, sales target is only applicable for sales team. That shouldn't be linked to another department or public. So that data protected as sensitive data. Or upcoming revenue information or balance sheet must be protected as sensitive data. That may has problem to create. If it is a public traded company, that may invite a penalty from SEBI or US security controls, where they put hefty fine if your balance sheet get released advance prior to your company earning call. So those data classified as sensitive and keep it secret, right? Highly sensitive. Let's say you have planned to acquire some company, next 3 months business plan, or maybe highly sensitive, only directors, board of directors and VPs only should know. So when organization classifies information, like I have given multiple examples, it should also include the labeling requirement that apply consistent markings to sensitive information, so that they can control the data movement within the company, right? So standard labeling must be created. If you are a security administrator, you wanted to implement data security controls, then you must use necessary labeling like sensitive, highly sensitive, internal, public kind of a classification. so that you can use sophisticated security products, right? Like most of the security products now supporting the labeling, even Microsoft supports labeling. You can label it when people attach highly sensitive data, it may go to administrator approval. Once admin approval, then only the email will be sent. So that level of control you can enforce when data properly classified. Alright, now quiz time. You are a security officer at a corporation that has a strict data retention policy. One of the company's servers reached its end of life and is being decommissioned. Which of the following action is the most secure method to ensure that sensitive data on the server's hard drive is completely destroyed if you would like to potentially reuse the drives? Overwriting, formatting, degauzing the drives, physically destroying the drives. So you need to apply slightly the learned concepts to identify as the answers are overlapping. Yeah, so the first one is overwriting the data, which means you are clearing the data. Overwriting means you are clearing, just deleting and rewriting, deleting, rewriting. Any recovery tool can recover the data. Formatting the drives also same. It is just you are formatting using recovery software, you can recreate the data. Degauzing is the technique which uses electromagnetic to clean the device or a disk. But you can reuse the device equipment or the storage equipment, but you cannot recover the data. So degauzing, possible answer. The next one is physically destroying the drives. When you physically destroy, you cannot reuse. So the answer is C. Next important concept is logging and monitoring. Before go to logging and monitoring, we'll take a quick 5 minutes short break and we'll resume around 7:55 p.m. IST. Alright, I'm back and let's connect and continue. So logging and monitoring is nothing. When you have electronic equipments, these equipments start creating events. When there is a change or there is a action or a task started or ended or interrupted, it make events. That events are streamed into logging mechanism and continuously monitored, right? So the primary reason why we are doing, first one is accountability. So to determine what went wrong or what went right, some device should take accountability. It could be proxy, firewall, router, switches, or even door badging system, right? So the door access also send the logs, who entered, who exit, what time employee came and what time employee did exit from the door. These are logged and stored for future reference. So which includes data points such as timestamp, person identity. If it is a firewall, it could translate into IP address, destination, port, protocol. If it is Windows creates lot of events. When people log in, log out, computer start running any program, run into any CPU memory problem. Everything is streamed into events. These events are passed to centrally storage, like it could be using monitoring tools such as Splunk or QRadar or any known popular tools or custom tools like Elastic. Use this tool to store and use analysis, right? Like creating a pattern or investigating any particular security incidents. This logging and monitoring is important. Another important step, in my personal opinion, logging and monitoring is one of the security control, because when there is a partial information, you can connect the full picture using log. Okay. 7-8 years ago, I worked as a security analyst. We have a tool called SQL incident correlator. We collect all the logs from Windows, laptop, firewall, proxy, mobile devices. We correlate all the logs and draw full picture. whether it could be WannaCry malware or a ransomware, what is happening, why that one device behaving abnormally. You need another data point from another application or software so that you come to know the full picture. This is what happening to take adequate action. So logging not only just for future reference and traceability, logging at times helps to safeguard your critical application and servers from threats as well as attackers, because when they first break one of the system, that time itself you found there is a malicious activity happening, there was a DDoS happened, then you can identify attacker enter into that door, then they propagate into another device, you need to shut that particular door. So that aspect, logging and monitoring will help triaging the security incidents, identifying the root cause, identifying the weaker area in the system and fix those vulnerabilities. So next quiz, you are a security officer at a corporation that has a strict data retention policy. I think we have seen this. Sorry. Next is log monitoring in picture here. Primarily we talk about the security information and event management, SIEM tool. SIEM is a centralized tool which collects, ingests logs from multiple sources like firewall, IDS, IPS, switch, router, even your cloud, and it correlates the events and create an alert. If there is a coincidence of all the logs related to some particular malware, it creates an alert to SOC team or administrator. Hey, multiple logs, we suspect it could be a ransomware attack, go and mitigate. So SOC team will take the incident and triage it and they follow the incident response process to mitigate those impacted, infected system. So here you see now day by day technologies and applications are keep growing. Whatever application come to the market, they come up with the supportability, they stream the logs to your SIM solution. If you find any new security software or a device tool, that must support SIM integration so that SIM can read the events and create alerts. When things go wrong or go right, you can understand the full pattern. Nowadays, cloud-based SIMs are available. That may give you more flexibility to collect logs and reduce the storage. Some on-prem SIM solutions are cost-effective when you have large number of events. For example, let's say 200k employees across the country. Every employee create 500 MB logs every day. Then you imagine how much storage they needed to run the business. So that will put hefty cost on the company's pocket, right? So to avoid that, they may go to cloud or they may filter out which log we need to collect, which they no need. So a lot of fine tuning. Now in this space, AI get introduced. Now AI taking care of the log monitoring as well as dropping unnecessary logs. Those area AI adoption is huge because that saves money as well as more accurate than the human. So you have just been signed to improve the existing log management system in your organization. Which solution would best aid in centralizing, protecting, analyzing your log entries? So we just talked about one tool, that is the answer. Take the chat and respond, yeah. So the SIM is the answer. DBMS, database management system, or NIDS, identity and access management system, is not answer. The logs can be centrally collected, stored, analyzed, triggered alert done by SIM tool. Next topic is configuration management. When it comes to configuration, each security solution or database, if you take any system or application, that comes with the default configuration. This is my baseline. On top, you can customize based on your business requirement, but baseline is something recommended by the vendor or best practices given by the vendor. Baseline is an important component of configuration management. Baseline is a snapshot of a system application at a given point in time. It may be used to assess whether the system has changed outside of an approved change management process. Let's say you have configured 5 policies on firewall. You made that as a baseline policies. Now 6th policy get added last week. suddenly firewall run into some problem, you have replaced the full firewall, now you need to restore it from the backup. So in the backup, you may maintain only the 5 baseline. On top, you need to write the customized sixth rule, right? So baseline help you in a disaster environment where the minimum controls are maintained as a baseline that can be used to identify if there is a change or if there is a restoration scenario. Baseline would help to save the business. Next is version control. Whenever you make some changes, new configuration file get created that maintain with the version so that you can restore correct version when needed. Configuration vulnerabilities. What is that? When you buy any router or switches, by default it comes with the default user ID and password. Once you integrate with your identity and access management, you need to change the password, you need to disable the default password, right? This must be part of hardening. Hardening is the process where baseline policies will be rolled out or implemented. Unnecessary ports, protocols may be disabled so that the system would be hard enough to hack or vulnerable to attack. Default configuration must be cleaned and changed to the custom one, more secure password. Then the security settings accordingly we need to configure. For example, last call we have seen Wi-Fi standards, right? Wired equivalent privacy and WPA version 1, 2, 3. So like that, weak security settings must be disabled and highly, recommended settings must be enabled. Then cryptographic weakness, as we have seen, some of the algorithms are outdated, like MD5, MD4 or hashing algorithm which is outdated. So those things we need to use right algorithm in the configuration. Patch and update management, what is your process? When you are patching, when your vendor is releasing the patch, are you patching N-1 version or real-time patch? What are the impacts must be assessed before updating the patch. Account management, in account, multiple accounts, admin account, guest account, server accounts, right? So those accounts must be maintained and audited so that these all not fall under configuration vulnerabilities. For example, your admin password is set as admin at 123, that account doesn't have necessary protection, then company at risk. So many major breaches, the default configuration, these configuration vulnerabilities plays crucial role. As a security admin, when you run a company or when you become a security officer responsible for entire project, you must look into these areas. These areas are protected. Even if you are a vendor, you are selling the solution to customer, you can recommend this is the default configuration, you can customize so that it is more secure. Because some scenarios when company produce a product, they give baseline protection, but companies based on the customer requirement, we need to suggest and recommend best controls so that customers are protected. They will trust us more than any other vendor because you are recommending on top of your product so that customer would be mutually happy and they would be strong enough to get into any attacks. Next, policies. Primarily, policies, the governing policies are done by management, like acceptable use policy. Whenever user access any device, there is a policy they need to agree. For example, you cannot expect privacy on your corporate laptop, right? Like that can be decrypted, that can be stored, that can be monitored, even screen recording can happen on your company laptop. So when you start using on first day one, when you join a new company, the company employees must agree and save the agreement or mutual consent that you are going to use my company equipment. XYZ privacies are you can expect, XYZ data can be retrieved by company. Company have full rights on your data to be wiped out. For example, if you use company mobile device, company has full rights to wipe out if mobile theft or employee terminated. Company can run a script and that tool will delete all the things on the mobile device. That is acceptable use policy. Data handling policy, when you use company asset, how the data would be handled, where your data will be stored. Those fall under data handling policy to be developed. Bring your own device policy. You can bring any of your tablet, mobile phone or smart gadgets into company and connecting company Wi-Fi.
what policy company have, what protection company must establish. Can you access company out email services on personal device or not? These all documented in bring your own device policy. Password policy, as we have seen in the previous classes, password strength, password complexity, password rotation, password life cycle, these all come under password policy. So if you don't have a password policy, then you are missing primary area in cybersecurity. So password policy is not just applicable for one application. As a business, you may buy 30, 40 plus softwares. These all, centrally governed by password policy. So the password policy applicable for whatever apps you are onboarding into your business. Change management policy. Okay, I have 40 plus applications, business applications supporting the customer, employees as an organization. If you make any random changes without any proper change control policy, then anyone can make the change and create impact, right? So every change must be planned, tested, and documented so that if there is a rollback or if there is a miss, and three people review, like change implementer, approver, reviewer, kind of a process must be there in the company to protect from change management standpoint, so that the application owner cannot take individual or independent decision. So the company must provide proper control and tracking on changes. Security awareness training, as on top of all the security controls, it could be physical control or logical control, right? Security awareness training will boost and improve the weakest link in the cybersecurity is human, right? So awareness training will improve the security posture for the company. Whatever security policies, it could be device acceptable use policy or bring your own device policy, password policy. This must be educated to the users so that they are aware and they implement in real time. That is via awareness training, right? So this training may be online or live combined kind of in-person training, but this must be given periodically, like every 6 months once or yearly once. All the employees must undergo security awareness training, right? So then there is another term called security training, provides users with the detailed information they need to protect the organization security. This may be used via a variety of delivery techniques, but the bottom line goal is to impart knowledge. Security training takes time and attention from students, right? Security training takes time and attention, as this goal is to protect organization security. Security training, organization security. Security awareness means remind employees about security lessons they have already learned, right? For example, sending phishing email stimulation to the employees. Employees already trained, but whether they have awareness or they are still clicking the stimulation link, kind of a test is part of security awareness, right? So it doesn't require time to sit down and learn new material. Instead, uses poster, videos, email messages, and similar techniques to keep security top of mind for those who already learned core lessons. Social engineering attacks are successful for the following reasons. Social engineering is another primary technique, can fool the persons, right? Primarily humans can be the primary victim for social engineering type of attacks. Authority and trust, when someone claims that guy is your CEO or director, authority and trust is broken. You trust that guy unknowingly and run into a problem. Intimidation, like post like a manager or a CEO asking gift card or a sudden emergency fund or sudden approval. These all leads to a social engineering, social engineering attack successful. Consensus and social proof, they give you, trusted proof, like showing like a controller or auditor. They asking some critical information. You trust that guy may become an auditor and asking company data. You may share that data unknowingly, like that, trusting that person is having a social proof, claiming as an auditor. Then creating scarcity and urgency over email, right? If you didn't do, this will happen, or we need that completed urgently so that you can save the business kind of a message, primarily attacking through phishing. Then familiarity and liking. When you are familiar with some concepts, like you are familiar with particular vendor you are doing business with, suddenly that vendor posed like a vendor, but your familiarity and liking was known by the attacker, using that as a route to attack. I post like that particular vendor you like always and place order. Now I post like that vendor and giving you some false information to create attacks. So social engineering comes through multiple ways. It could be phishing, wishing, or through help desk call, primarily through social networking, as well as email or any chat or any collaboration tools. So on top, all the methods, user training as well as awareness training is the key to mitigate social engineering attacks. So now we almost reached the end of the session, as this is the final domain. So far we have seen various concepts, so you will feel, at least in theory, comfortable. You have completed all 5 domains and enough knowledge you gathered. You simply sit and watch these recordings, you will familiar with all the concepts, because we touch all the concepts in these sessions. Now next action would be schedule the exam. Once you schedule the exam, time is ticking, you will automatically start preparing more aggressively, will watch more recordings, you will find more materials automatically. That one motivation will happen. Then participate in multiple choice questions on various ways. There was a video with 300 multiple choice questions on YouTube. Multiple people written a quiz-like application on internet. I will share those links I put together in a document over WhatsApp group. The important matter is, pass or fail doesn't matter. You go attempt, fail, you did a good job because you take that action and you failed. You didn't sit quite right, so you are moving from one to another stage. So even going and failing also good. If you put lot of effort and prepared well and you passed the exam, congratulations, you have certification. Next step, maybe you can look for CISSP or another certification, or look for a job, so that will take you to next level. So focus on your preparation, trust the process, put beliefs and trust on you, then go to the exam. Then share your feedback and ratings on the feedback form I will share, or a rating link I will share over the WhatsApp group. Participate and give your genuine feedback. That will help me to continue this program, as I have more asked for next batch, as already people start looking, this is benefiting, and this method is helping them to crack the exam. So last couple of weeks I have got multiple messages, people participated and cleared the exam. So I would recommend you to schedule the exam, so that within February you can complete the exam on ISC2 or Pearson Center. Then you can look for next step in your career. So with that note, I'm wishing you all the best, and wishing you good luck to crack the exam. Keep in touch if you have any questions or any doubt. Reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to help to learn together and grow together. So with that note, I conclude. Open for questions if anyone in the call like to talk with them.